Hello, and welcome to Ghostly Gossip, the podcast where we discuss all things paranormal and our experiences with them. My name is Derry, and I run a group called Devon and Cornwall Paranormal Investigators, or D.C.P.I. Just as a warning, the podcast may include swearing. Today we're chatting with Sara, who is a lone investigator and runs Paranormal Cativity. Okay, so today we're welcoming Sara. So Sara, where are you currently in the paranormal world?
Hi. So I'd say a group, but I'm called Paranormal Cativity. So that's activity with a C because I'm a crazy cat lady.
Love
investigators. That. So I do that kind of because I have a full-time job, but I do that. It's a bit of a hobby, but I really enjoy it. So I kind of go out on investigations. I collaborate with people. You know, I do film things, so I'm on Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube as well. So I do put videos up there for people to see. So that's kind of where I'm at the minute. You know, scouting locations, going out and kind of doing the investigations from there, and then I'm kind of seeing, you know, where that takes me.
Amazing.
I mean, ideally, I'd love to be able to give up my full-time job and be a full-time investigator.
Oh, I know.
I think we all would.
Oh, the dream.
I know, wouldn't that just be lovely?
Yeah, so at the Netflix minute, contact us now.
Weekends and spare time.
Wonderful. And how did you get into the paranormal world?
So the actual investigating is coming up to a year, but the paranormal world, I've always had an interest in it. You know, from being really young, I've always loved like your horror films. I've been into witchcraft crystals, that kind of thing. But then when I was 19, I had my son. He's now 21, he's 22 this year. But when I was 19, I had my son, and then the house next door to my parents came up. So obviously I moved in there, you know, for more room. And it just happened that this house was haunted.
Oh.
And I kind of lived there for 5 years, but initially it was terrifying, to be fair. It kind of started off really slowly. And I don't know if, are you a mum?
No.
No, okay. So as a mum, when your baby wakes up crying, you've probably heard other people say it. You kind of know what that cry is and why they've woken up. You know, the hungry, the hurting, the this, that, the other. And it just started off where Kian would wake up screaming in the middle of the night, almost like someone had scared him awake. So I kind of thought, oh, you know, what's going on here? And then slowly it just kept building up to a point where Kian was being terrorised, so he had to sleep in my bed. And then Kian, you know, the baby walkers that babies use.
Yeah.
That was just sat in my living room. Now I had carpet, and all of a sudden this baby walker just flung across the room on its own, and I was like, oh my God, what the fuck was that?
Oh, wow.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and then kind of like my keys would go missing. Now, anybody who knows me really well, I never lose my keys, ever. You know, I shout at my husband now because he's always losing his keys. But back then, my keys would be misplaced constantly, and I'd find them in really strange places. You know, things would fly across the room. And it became quite terrifying where I was too scared to go upstairs at night, so I started sleeping downstairs with Kian for a long time. And then even during the day, I was terrified to go upstairs. And I thought, you know what? It's getting a bit much, this. I'm scared of living in my own house. So my mum had kind of had a similar experience before I was born and said, why don't you just be kind of firm with the spirit and tell it, you know, you better pack this in or I'm going to have you kicked out, kind of thing. So I did. I got brave one night and, you know, a few choice words. I was like, you know, you better fucking pack this in. You're scaring me, scaring Kian. If you carry on, I'm just going to have you kicked out the house. I'll get somebody in. And it seemed to work. It was dead weird. It was almost like when me and Kian was downstairs, the spirit was upstairs. And if we went up to bed, the spirit was downstairs. And I'd still know it was there, and I'd hear footsteps and banging and things like that. But we kind of then coincided for the rest of the time that I lived in that house. So yeah, I know that was quite long, but that's kind of what drew me more into it and more of an interest because I had that experience, you know, that personal experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was probably one of the scariest times of my life.
I'm starting to think we might have lived in the same house because it sounds awfully similar.
It's absolutely insane. Well, and now I've lived, because I live in Liverpool now. I moved to Liverpool to, live with my husband. But I moved out of that house in 2009. I lived in it for 5 years, and I'd lived next door my whole life. But apparently now, I think people move in and last maybe 2 years, if that. So there's been a lot of people go through that house. So I am kind of thinking about going back to Burnley, where it is, and knocking on the door and saying, "Do you want me to investigate?" But I'm still thinking about that one.
I am exactly the same with the house, the house I'm thinking of in question that I grew up in, because, if somebody asked me, where would be the one place you can investigate, it would be my childhood home, because I want some answers, like, what was going on?
That's what it was. Yeah.
But it's so scary, isn't it? The idea of approaching. I was like, maybe I'll leaflet like the whole street and they'll just get back to me. Like, how do you go about that?
It's insane, isn't it? But it is definitely something kind of on my list, and you never know. I mean, I still have family that live on that street, so you never know. I might reach out to them eventually, or I don't know. We'll see. But it would be interesting to go back in, because obviously when I lived there, I was terrified. Now, it's years later. I'm a proper investigator, I say proper, with equipment and everything. So I think it would be interesting.
Absolutely. Maybe get one of your family to like be best friends with them. Wait till they tell them that something weird's going on in the house, and they can be like, Sarah lived here, she can come and investigate. This would be good.
Yeah. It would be interesting, definitely. So it's definitely something I think hopefully one day I'll go back. So we'll kind of see what happens with that one. But yeah, that's kind of what drew me into it. So I always had that interest, but then obviously living through that, and then over the years, like everybody does. I think every investigator's watched Most Haunted, Ghost Adventurers, all your TV shows. We've kind of grown up on them, haven't we?
Yeah.
And then I didn't realise. I have to say, I was quite ignorant. I didn't realise how big the paranormal community was in this country and on social media until last year. For some reason, as much as I was into it, I'd never stumbled across it.
Yeah.
And it was. And then I did, and I was like, wow, I can actually be an investigator.
Yeah, kind of that realisation of how accessible and common it actually is, because so many of us still, I mean, I'm not talking me personally, because obviously I'm fully out and proud now about being a paranormal investigator, but so many of us still feel very taboo about mentioning it and telling people what we do because of the reaction that we get. Yeah,
no, that is very true, and there's probably a bit of that what kind of kept me from it, maybe. Like now, I don't care. I like you say, I'm out, I'm proud. I even, I'm into witchcraft. I call myself a witch, but years ago, I never really told anyone because, as you say, there is a taboo and people judge and think you're weird. But now I just think, do you know what? I don't care. If people don't like it, they don't have to watch what I'm doing or ask me about what I'm doing.
Absolutely. And I find new people that I tell about it, whereas 10 years ago, if I'd have told people, they absolutely would have had the reaction of, that's weird, that's not true, it must be your imagination. But I think because of the paranormal media, when I tell people now that, I run a ghost hunting company and I do podcasts and stuff about it, and they're always just full of questions now.
Yeah.
It's just full of questions now.
I find I get people going, oh my God, can I come with you? Can I come on an investigation? I've got work colleagues and friends and family begging to come out with me. And you kind of go, wow, it is accepted now, isn't it? I just think it's more out there.
Absolutely.
And I think the community, it's like, it's a massive community, isn't it, on social media now? And there's lots of teams out there, and you've got obviously teams that are really in the limelight, and obviously I've been lucky enough to work with some of those teams as well, in the short time I've been an investigator. So I just think it is kind of on the rise, and it's becoming more popular, and there's more awareness around it, I think. Wow.
Absolutely, and I'm grateful for it, because now we can all be weird and publicise it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it helps if you're into it. It's like, I'm into horror, I'm a scare actor as well, so I'm a bit weird, so I think it fits me perfectly.
Absolutely. I'm interested. Have also been a scare actor. Maybe there's a bit of a correlation here. Maybe I should start asking it on the podcast, see how many other people.
Like, have you been a scare actor?
Yeah.
I still currently work as a scare actor as well, and in the Halloween season, but I absolutely love it. So that's another side of it. But where I do the scare acting, that's haunted as well. So as an actor, we've seen spirits around the vicinity, and guests often see the ghosts, as people say, and they just think it's another actor. It's really bizarre and funny.
Yeah, I've had a similar experience. It is interesting, isn't it, when they're like, who was that guy in the hat? And you're like, there was no guy in a hat. There just wasn't. You've imagined a guy in a hat, or you've seen one of our friendly customers.
Yes, definitely.
So what's been your favourite place that you've visited?
Up to now, it's hard. I'd say I've got kind of two.
You can have two, two's fine.
Yeah, I can have few, because obviously I live in Liverpool, and I was really lucky last year. I got the chance to go into Newsham Hospital. It's quite a well sought after one in the community, and so I did manage to go in there last year. So that was I was really excited about that one. It wasn't as active as previous other people's sessions, but that's what you get with the paranormal insight. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't.
Absolutely.
And then I'd say up to now, my other one has to be, it's located in Pendle, Barley Village. There's a 17th century cottage, and it is unbelievable. I've got a video on YouTube of us there, because I used to have teammates, and now I'm just kind of solo. But there's a video of us there, and it is absolutely unreal. My son Kian was a complete skeptic when I started this. He's kind of opening his eyes a little bit now, but he's actually said to me, "Mum, I am never going back to that cottage with you again."
Oh wow! Okay, yeah, no, that sounds good. I've not heard of that. That's definitely a place that I'm going to be googling later.
The only thing is, when you're booking it, you can't tell the owners that you're an investigator. They don't allow you to book it otherwise.
Cool, excellent. I'm just going for a weekend of hiking, me.
Yes, you're just going because you're interested, but it is, honestly, it was intense. I mean, on that video, we were doing kind of, like a wrap up the next morning, because we stayed over. So the next morning, we were kind of you do an outro,
Yeah.
And my son Kian's filming it, and then he's looking at me, and you kind of see me go, "What?" And he goes, "Look." And you can kind of see just to the side in the kitchen, there's kind of like a really old-fashioned iron chandelier holding candles, and it's just sat there swinging.
Oh, amazing.
Just swinging away. And I went to him, I went, "Just film it," and you see he films right on it, and you can just see it swinging. And we were leaving at that point as well, so that's definitely somewhere I need to go back. And it was actually really freaky, and I made my son sleep in the same room on the floor with me that night. So yeah, I do want to go back. I'm going to hopefully take my husband back with me, just so I'm not sleeping on my own as well, because I don't get scared that often, but that one did freak me out a little bit.
Would you say that's the scariest place you visited?
Up for activity wise, yeah, and where I kind of felt on edge constantly. I mean, even my son, who's practically a skeptic, was terrified there. And you kind of see, like when you watch some videos of paranormal and people are very over dramatic and screaming and swearing, you think, yeah, whatever. Well, if you look back, I'm not a really dramatic person, but in that video, we're all so dramatic, it's unreal. Because, we're literally sat downstairs doing an Estes, and then all of a sudden, so you can imagine, 17th century cottage, the walls are as thick as anything, you can't hear the next door or whatever. And then all of a sudden, do you know when a big heavy cat jumps off a bed?
Yeah.
That sound came from upstairs. You don't hear it on the audio, unfortunately, but you just hear us go, "What the fuck was that?" And then, we all kind of run upstairs together, and we start knocking, and we're getting knocks replied back to us, and it was just really cool, getting that live response, because as you know, sometimes, you'll ask a response and you can sit and wait for ages for it, or you don't get anything. So when you kind of get that instant response to what you're asking, it was fun but scary.
That sounds amazing. That's definitely onto my to visit list now.
Oh no, definitely. I mean, there's another good place in Barley Village. You can actually hire the Barley Village the Barley Village hall. It's actually really reasonable. It's 150 for the whole night, and you can stay over, and that is a really good place to investigate as well. Definitely somewhere I'd like to go back.
That sounds amazing. Pendle's one that quite often people on the podcast will say, like, I want to investigate that way, like, up in Pendle. Yeah, my partner in crime, that's one of her places she really wants to go to, so...
I'd definitely go. See, where I'm originally from, Burnley, Pendle is postcode Burnley. So where I grew up out my childhood home, out of my bedroom window, the view was Pendle Hill.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so as you can imagine, I kind of grew up on the Pendle Witches, Pendle Hill, all the stories, all that kind of thing. So to then go and investigate it was kind of, it's nice. And I do like to go back there, and it's definitely somewhere I'd say, if you've never done it, definitely go.
Okay, right. Well, that's in the plan for the works now.
Definitely. But my other obsession is abandoned asylums. I don't know if you've come across anyone with that, but I've got a bit of an obsession with them, to be fair.
Sure, the guy I was talking to just before, he was saying about one near him over in Lincolnshire way that he goes to regularly and absolutely loves it, an abandoned asylum.
Is that Roseby?
I'm not sure. I don't remember what he said.
Or Roseby. It's a right funny pronouncing, but it's made up of 6 buildings.
Yeah, he said most of it's kind of been knocked down and it's ruins now. A lot of it.
Do you know what? That could be a slightly different one then. But no, yeah, I have a big obsession with them. I love asylums.
What's your favourite one you've been to?
So up to now I have been to 2, Cheadle in Manchester, and I was lucky enough to go to the Lancaster Asylum. You can't get in there anymore. The Lancaster one's huge. That was really interesting. Really bizarre with that one is we were inside, obviously. We went upstairs, so we went up 2 flights of stairs.
Yeah.
Walked around the corridor, looped round, and we ended up back downstairs without going down any stairs.
Nah, that's not okay.
Literally, and I was like, what the fuck is going on here? So we went back upstairs and we looped round. And when you look at the building, it's not like it's slanted into the ground or anything, but we'd go up 2 flights of stairs, we'd walk around back on ourselves, and we'd end up back downstairs. And because we were trying to find us way out at this point, and we were like, what the hell is going on here? It was really bizarre. And then all of a sudden we found us way out.
Nah, that's not okay. I don't want to visit there. I'll just stay on the ground floor. I won't go up any stairs. But
yeah, that was the most bizarre. But Cheadle, I've got plans to go back to Cheadle in May. I'm actually collaborating with another solo investigator, James. He has Creepy Chronicles, and he's never been, so I'm going back there with him, so that's going to be interesting. But I also collaborate. We're kind of a team, but unofficially we're not. He has his own. So Ian McLaughlin, he has, I don't know if you've heard of Lone Wolf Investigations. So he has that, but we kind of, work with me and Ian comes along, or work with Ian and I tag along, if you know what I mean, like an unofficial team. So yeah, we're going to go to Cheadle. Now another freaky thing in Cheadle, like I've got the video on YouTube, literally we're filming down the corridor, asking you normal questions like you do, and then all of a sudden on the audio you hear like this demonic menacing growl, almost like a lion, but you see that we don't react at all because we didn't hear it. It wasn't until I was reviewing footage that I found this growl. So that's quite freaky. And then on an EVP later in the night, we picked up a spirit saying, "This is a hospital, get out." Yeah. So this is all in the video. So I'm kind of like, it's a bit like a challenge. They've told me to leave, and I'm kind of like, I need to go back and just spend a bit more time there. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
See, I'm the opposite. We got screeched out of Oakhampton Castle. My partner in crime is like, let's go back, let's see if it happens again, let's find out what it was. And I'm like, yeah, let me know how it goes. But if something that sounds that hellish has screeched me out, I'm alright about going back.
Yeah, I'm like going back and I'm like, do it again. It's just interesting, and it's one of those I find, kind of one of the reasons, there's a couple of reasons I'm into it, is one, to actually get proof and, prove, skeptics, like a lot of skeptics don't believe in anything. So it'd be nice to kind of have that proof and take a skeptic along and go, actually, I've changed your mind. And then on the other hand, as you know, being in the paranormal, sometimes the spirit just wants a voice. They just want to speak, and they're trying to communicate, but people aren't listening. Yeah. So we tend to go in and give them that voice. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I don't think people, because I think a lot of the paranormal media is evidence-based, which I totally get, and that is kind of pretty much the main goal why most of us are in it. But you never see those moments, I don't find, where we're somewhere and we've got a spirit that's sounding really upset, or that is stuck, or doesn't know they've passed. Like, you don't see those actually really sad bits that are hard for us to manage and negotiate.
Yeah, because see, for me, I don't tend to put that stuff in because I think that's a private moment.
Absolutely. But, I think people think it's all just kind of sitting with equipment sometimes, and that there isn't, it's just ask questions and whatever. But actually there is so many different sides and facets to it that I think a lot of people who watch paranormal media that aren't involved in it don't see.
Yes, there is. It's like people think as well, I think, because of the shows like Most Haunted, Ghost Adventures, and probably the way that we edit videos as well. A lot of people say, oh, how exciting. I'm like, no, it's like fishing. And they go, what do you mean it's like fishing? They go, a paranormal investigation is not quick and, like it is on our videos, or the way Most Haunted, or like Hollywood. Hollywood makes it look like it's bam, 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 this happens all in one go. And, and it's not like that, is it? You could be sat around for 8 hours and only have an hour's worth of footage.
Yeah.
Because, as you know, spirits get tired. They need to build that energy back up. And, like you say, we could come across spirits where it's a little bit sad and we're helping them, and we just don't want to show people that because it's a private moment. And yeah, I think there's a lot more to it than people realise.
Absolutely. And it's interesting that, you said that, because on a previous podcast I've recorded today, we were kind of discussing the fact that actually we have to edit our stuff so it's entertaining. Actually, people wouldn't want to see us sat in a dark room for 8 hours with nothing happening. Yeah. So, of course, we edit it down to the interesting bits, but they have to remember we are there for 8 hours. And we've managed to get you a half an hour clip.
Yeah, and it is, it's like, you know yourself, if someone's on an Estes and you ask a question, it could be like 5 minutes before you even get an answer. Yeah. And it's like, you're not going to put that in your video because people are going to go, oh my God, they haven't answered in 10 seconds. I'm not watching this anymore.
I think it massively affects people's expectations as well when they attend ghost hunts.
Yeah, because they just think, oh, this is going to, it's going to happen. Yeah. And especially like, the paid organised ones, there's a lot of work in them because you can't always trust that the spirits are going to play ball that night, are you?
Oh, absolutely. The amount of times that, we do public events as well, and we turn up and just nothing's happening, and it's like, we are here for 8 hours regardless. But then, that's why we have a variety of equipment, and we move places, and we try different things, and try and get that activity going, isn't it? And we tend to make sure everybody at least has a good night in terms of laughing and joking about whatever. And then at least you come away.
Though, that laughing and joking, I find, kind of what you kind of have breaks as well, don't you? Like we do, because you can't constantly investigate.
Oh,
you get tired. But what I always find is when you're on those breaks and you're having a laugh and you're joking and messing around, that's when the spirits tend to come, and it's almost like they enjoy it, and then you have to quickly turn the cameras on because the spirits have gone, oh, I'm joining in here.
Absolutely. Like the amount of times where we've been in a place and I've kind of gone to everybody, right, just chat amongst yourselves for a bit. Because as soon as you start chatting amongst yourselves and ignoring them, it's like they're like, hey, come on, what? I thought you were here to look at me. What? Let me get involved. And I think laughter in general builds the energy. I know in certain places, like when I've investigated with another company, like in schools and things, or places where there would have been lots of children, doing things like singing, as weird as it is, massively sometimes bumps it up.
Yeah, no,
because it's familiarity.
That's like in Nugent, because it was mainly, an orphanage, and you take all the childlike things, and, when we were in there, you know, somebody had because we worked alongside another team, they had like a teddy bear REM pod, and they seem to really, really like the teddy bear REM pod and the cat balls.
Yeah.
Because they're like toys.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But it's bizarre, isn't it? And it's hard to explain as well, because people ask, oh, what's it like? What's it like? And I'm like, well, you know, it's cool. And they're like, are you scared? And I'm like, well, of course I get scared. You know, anyone who says they're not scared are lying, because we all get scared at some point. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We've all got our limits of what scares us. Like, if anything touches me, I'm done. I can't deal with that. Noises, voices, whatever, moving things, throwing things, fine. You touch me, and that's my limit.
And you're done. I like to try and have me back to a wall if possible.
Yeah, in a corner's a nice place, isn't it? A corner.
Yeah, just so I know nothing can kind of just, you know, jump out. All those spirits can jump out wherever they want, but I don't know, I just feel safer when I've got me back to a wall. Because I think it's more, especially if you're in an abandoned place, I tend to be more scared of the living, because you don't know who's going to stumble along.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what's the creepiest thing that's ever happened to you, or that you've witnessed, would you say?
I'd say kind of what I experienced in my own home.
Yeah,
and
massively.
As an investigator, it'd have to be the 17th century cottage in Barley Village. That was just the creepiest. Do you know what I mean? Just the activity that went on, and you know how am I going to explain it? It's kind of as you know, we sit around for a while, but the activity in that cottage wasn't constant, but there wasn't much waiting in between. It was the most active I've ever experienced, I think.
I love like nights like that, but aren't they exhausting?
Yes, they are, because you get really tired. And then you've got so much footage, and you're like, hang on a minute, I need to pick out, because who's going to sit and watch like a 2-hour investigation video?
Yeah, I've now got to go through 6 hours of video, 6 hours of EVP, 700 photos. Wonderful.
I like to try and keep my videos to an hour if I can. Some have gone a little bit over, but it's hard, isn't it, trying to pick out the best moments. So I then tend to do like best bits every now and again.
And that's the thing, people don't see that background work of what it takes to do social, website, editing, all of that. Like, you know, as much as it's a hobby for us, generally, you know, I know that our company isn't making money, we're just using the money to book new venues every time, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And but when you think about the amount of hours you put into it, it's crazy. It is almost like a full-time job as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. And people don't realise, like you say, the editing, you know, you can edit and get 5 minutes of a video, but yet that's taking you 2 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like when I first did the podcast, and my mum is arguably our biggest fan. And I recorded it, I phoned her, and I was like, I've just recorded the first podcast, and she was like, oh, how do I get to it? And I was like, no, it doesn't work like that. I've got to edit it. And she was like, you just put the recording on. I'm like, no, really? I was like, it doesn't work like that, unfortunately.
Oh, see, I have to like sit and my mum won't watch my videos unless I'm sat with her, because she gets scared.
Oh, I love that. My mum turns the noise off on our like promotion videos if you've got like creepy music and stuff. She hates that, but she'll look at the pictures and watch the actual bit of the video.
I got you. No, I have to be sat with her, otherwise she won't watch it.
Oh, bless.
And then I go, okay, Mum, it's not that scary.
Yeah, my mum will never come. I mean, she does all the history. She does all the research into the buildings and stuff, but she was like, no, never coming, ever.
Yeah, that's the same as my mum. Although I've done, when I very, very first started, just to kind of test out equipment, I did, you know, we investigated my mum's flat, and she was okay with that, but she won't come to an investigation.
It's funny, isn't it?
I know. I mean, I do plan on investigating my house soon, so I'm hoping I can maybe get her along, because I brought something home from an investigation that's kind of tormenting us a little bit. I know. So that's interesting, yeah. I have to sage my house about every 3 weeks, otherwise my cats get really freaked out.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's a bit of a pain. Well, hopefully you can get that sorted.
I know, but I'm waiting for my cats, because my cats kind of let me know when it's all building up again. So I'm waiting for that, and then I'm going to do an investigation before I sage and get rid of it completely this time. So it's just interesting to see when it comes into your own home.
Oh yeah, you kind of want to know where it's from, what it's doing, why it thinks it's okay to follow you.
Yeah. And the weird thing is Ian, Lone Wolf Investigations.
Yeah.
We think the same thing has followed him home because we did a location together. We kind of it was like a little bit of a scout out of a location that we're hopefully going back to soon. And it was from us just kind of playing around there. And ever since, we're both experiencing very similar things. And what was really weird is we kind of had spirit talkers on. I had it on in my house. He had it on in his, but we didn't know, that we were both doing it, and we both got the same reply. We both got told to go and fuck ourselves.
Oh, such a friendly spirit you've brought home to visit.
I know. And then I kind of messaged Ian because I was like, oh my God, Ian, I got this. And he was like, oh my God, and sent me a screenshot. He was like, I got the same thing. I was like, that is weird. I think the same thing is kind of following us both. So yeah, be exciting to kind of investigate that once it builds back up.
Oh, absolutely. I look forward to hearing about that when it comes.
I know. And as well, I kind of live right by, I don't know if you've heard of the old hospital in Liverpool, Mill Road Hospital.
I haven't, no.
Okay, so it's not there now. It's a housing estate, and I kind of my house is situated practically in the backyard of that hospital. But in the Second World War, it was a maternity hospital. And then during the Second World War, it stayed open. So obviously mothers would still give birth there, but a lot of injured people from the Blitz, soldiers would get treated there. And one of the German bombs landed on the hospital. I think it was 90, if I remember. When you've got so many facts, I'm sure it's 98 women, babies, and obviously other injured were killed there. So obviously with me living so close to where the hospital was situated, as we know, spirits could potentially be passing through as well.
Absolutely.
That'd be interesting.
Oh, well, I'm very excited to follow that and find out what happens, and hopefully it doesn't terrorise you too much, but, kind of want to know at the same time.
I know. Yeah, I kind of want it to happen, but don't want it to happen, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, it's weird.
So what would be your top 5 places that you would like to investigate?
So, I mean, I've got 3 off the top of my head.
Cool.
It's got to be, everybody wants to do it, 30 East Drive. It's got to be one that I do. And I'm hoping to try and get that either this year or next year, but I know it books up fast. The other, I really want to do Shrewsbury Prison.
Okay, yeah.
That's another one. And the asylum I mentioned earlier, I can never pronounce it right. I'm sure it's pronounced Roseby Asylum. It is over kind of in Lincolnshire the way, and it's abandoned. It's 6 buildings that are still standing, and that's supposed to be really interesting. So that's kind of 3.
I'll take 3.
Yeah, I can't think of any others, but they're kind of 3 that I can think of off the top of my head that I really want to do, and especially 30 East Drive. I mean, it's got to be on your list, hasn't it, as an investigator, a bit like Newsham.
I mean, out of interest, you said you're up in Liverpool, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Have you been to Bronnergarth?
I haven't, no.
If you like hospitals and asylums, I massively recommend that. It's one of the best places I've ever investigated.
Oh, really?
Really, yeah, it's incredible.
I'll have to have a look at that one. And do you know what? It's just come to me, and my son, Kian, is actually going to take me, hopefully, in the next couple of years. But it's got to be the one and only place, being a witch as well, Salem, Massachusetts, America.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and my son, he made me all excited because, he's like coming up 22, and he was like, Mum, I'm going to take you to America. I know you want to go to New York. And I was like, hang on a minute. I know I want to go to New York, but do you know what? I'd rather go to Salem. He was like, okay, I'll pay for us to go to Salem. I was like, yes. So hopefully that'll be in the next couple of years.
Well, that's amazing. What a lifetime kind of trip.
I know, because I mean, as an investigator and obviously a witch and everything, it's just got to be the place, hasn't it? Pendle, I was lucky enough to live by it and grow up by it, and then the other witchy place, Salem, it's got to be done.
But yeah, if you see an event coming up Bronnergarth, it's well worth any money you spend to go there. Oh, it's an incredible place. That's the only place I've ever run out of.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it was during free time I was hosting, it was a paid event I was hosting with others, and it was during free time, and normally if you hear people scream, it's somebody jumping out or whatever, but because the building's it's not derelict, it's owned and it is relatively looked after, but it's, it's old, it is run down. He's in the process of renovating it. Like, it could have been that something had happened and they'd fallen for a stair or a bit of roof or whatever had fallen. So we heard this scream, so me and another investigator went to see if they were okay, and we go up these 2 flights of stairs. That's where we kind of thought the noise came from. But it's a hospital, so you get to the top of the stairs and you've got like 6 different corridors. So I just stood at the top of the stairs and I shouted and was like, hello, are you alright? Nothing. I was like, hello, are you okay? We heard you scream. Nothing. 3rd time, hello, are you okay? Shouting down these corridors, and all of a sudden we've heard a bang. Someone's run down the corridor above us, through the fire door, and started coming down the stairs at us. And I've just turned around and literally gone, nah, can't do it, and ran outside for my life. And was like, nope. And then the next day we spoke to the owner, and he was like, did you have a nice night? And I was like, no, I got run at. Like, that was not okay. And he was like, oh, it'll be the matron. Like, it was normal. Like, that was an everyday thing. So,
and she's like, she's probably telling you to get out, like I got told to get out to cheat.
I was like, what do you mean? It's the matron. And he was like, oh, she often will push past each people and run from her office to the ward. And I was like, well, that's interesting that happened just after somebody was screaming.
Wow.
Like she's gone to attend.
That's insane. I think I'd have run with that as well, because that's kind of creepy. That's like Hollywood's creepy.
Yeah, I do not want to be ran at, especially on the stairs. No, that's a very vulnerable place to be ran at, you know? No, thank you.
Yeah, definitely. I think I definitely need to visit now.
Oh, it's so good. I mean, it really is incredible. And it's so big. There's just so much to see and explore. It is a really awesome place. And the history of it's really interesting, because it was a workhouse, then it was a hospital, so it's got so much horrible history, really.
Yeah.
It's definitely
funny,
worth it.
As investigators, we're kind of seeking out that horrible history.
Yeah, it's a bit dark, isn't it?
It is. But what makes me laugh, though, is when people kind of have new builds and they go, oh, my house is brand new, it's not haunted. And I'm like, it's not the house, it's the land that it's on, love.
Absolutely. Like, doesn't matter what was there before. It's like when they build housing estates, as you say, like on asylums. It's like, all you poor people in that new build might not be having such a good time, because it's the land.
Yeah. And people don't believe me. I'm like, you don't know what happened there 300 years ago. There could be a graveyard underneath you.
Absolutely. In my childhood home, we had all the history, we had all the deeds. Nothing had ever happened in the house. Nobody had ever died there. But before, it was grassland on the top of a hill.
Oh, wow.
And about 10-minute drive, there was another hill that's grassland called Gallows Gate, where they hung people. And I'm like, well, what are we asking for here?
Yes. See, my house that was haunted, that was all coal mines underneath.
Oh, okay, yeah. Again, perfect place. Well, not perfect place, but, you know, a place where naturally disasters, things are going to happen. And you just don't know, do you?
Yeah, no, you don't. And so close to Pendle as well, because Pendle it's the same postcode as, but it's classed as Burnley. So, yeah, I mean, as we know, you know, with Pendle witches, or the accused, should I say, you know, all that went on there, didn't it? So it is kind of freaky and spooky, but interesting as well.
But yeah, well worth booking, mate. Is there anywhere you wouldn't investigate, anywhere you've kind of heard about or whatever, and you've just gone, nah, not for me?
Do you know what? Probably not, because it's one of those, if you tell me something, it's really creepy, I really want to go. As much as I might be terrified and scared, and I get there and go, why have I come here? It makes me want to go. So, no, it's weird. I tell you one thing, there's one thing about my son, because obviously he comes out on most of my investigations now, and he will walk around abandoned old buildings, asylums, on his own, not bothered whatsoever, but take him to a woods, and he clings to me. He's like, nope. Just does not like woodland for some reason.
No, I'm with him on that. You know, all the stories of things like skinwalkers, black-eyed children, nah.
Mimics and stuff.
Yeah, a woodland is way too open. There's not a corner that I can get in a woodland.
Yeah. I mean, they freak me out a little bit, but I'm not as freaked out as him, I think. He is more freaked out by woodlands. But yeah, he'll walk around an abandoned building by himself, not bothered. So yeah, there's the woods and the cottage. Where me, I think I'm up for most things.
I like that.
I say that. But maybe I haven't come across a place where I've thought, no, yeah.
You've not come across a place scary enough yet?
Yeah, maybe.
To make you go, nah, I'm not going back there. It was great, but no.
I know, because even the cottage, I'm like, it scared me to death, but I want to go back. And I think my husband's a complete skeptic, you know. He supports me in what I do, and, you know, it kind of eggs me on. But he doesn't believe in any of it, so I'm kind of like on a mission now to make him come on investigations and prove it to him.
I like that, and my partner is also a skeptic, but thankfully he really loves photography, so when he comes he takes all the awesome pictures, so that's a bonus.
Oh, that's amazing. But yeah, hopefully I can get him to come along. But that's kind of how I deal with skeptics anyway. Do you know, like when you get comments online, oh, it's fake, it's fake. My way is like, okay, if you think it's fake, come out with me.
Yeah, come and see, come and feel it.
They go, what? Come out with me, I'll prove it to you. And they go, yeah. What? 9 times out of 10, they don't even take you up on it, do they?
No, I think it's more the fear of the unknown there. I find that I personally think that with a lot of skeptics, like, it's easier to believe it doesn't exist than to believe it exists and not have a reason or an explanation.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another reason when you say explanation, I like my Kian to come out, because the first thing he'll do if something happens, you'll see it on videos, is he will try to debunk it.
Yeah.
He'll try to recreate what's happened, and if he can't recreate it, he then kind of goes, well, you know, it's up to you to kind of figure out what you believe has happened then. So I think sometimes it can be good to have a skeptic on board with you, because I'm one of those, you know, I will debunk stuff if I have to, and I will go, yeah, do you know what, that was that switch there that made that clicking noise. I won't just pretend that it's something, because I'm not into that, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we're very scientific like that. The amount of time I spend walking around buildings, knocking on every surface, trying to recreate the exact noise we heard 5 minutes prior, or jumping up and down next to a cat ball to see if it's the floorboards, or swapping the batteries 700 times.
Yes. Or moving, swapping the cat ball over, because, well, you see, we did that in the Bali village. We spent ages slamming chairs down next to these cat balls that weren't even going off, but yet they were going off when we knocked on a table, and we were like, what?
Yeah, you're like underneath the table, looking at the table, like, what's going on? Yeah. But, you know, at the end of the day, if we didn't do that bit, then we couldn't leave thinking it might have been something else.
No, exactly. And I think me personally as an investigator, and I think most investigators agree, I think there is that element of trying to debunk what you see and to prove that it is paranormal.
Yeah.
And I think it helps, to be fair. I know obviously everyone's got their own style and nothing's wrong or right, but that's just kind of how I work. You know, I will try to debunk. So you do tend to see me doing that in a lot of footage that I put out there. So for me, I find that important.
On talking about cat balls and knocking around and all those things, what is your favourite piece of equipment and why?
Do you know what? I have to say, I love a cat ball.
Love that.
And I know there's some people don't like them. There's kind of, they're like Marmite, aren't they? You either love them or hate them. For me, although they are obviously motion censored, I always try to place them. Do you know, like if you're outside in a groove, so you know that it's not just going to blow, you know, and it's going to be difficult to set off. So I'll always try and place them in a secure place. So when that cat ball does go off, I find that really exciting, because, like you say, you can jump at the side of one and it won't go off at all, and it takes a bit of pressure to put them off, because if you kind of know, do you know how they work, it's to do with a circuit, so when they move, a little ball moves and kind of completes the circuit. So I just find that really exciting when they do go off.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. We use cat balls, and I think as long as you're setting them up in the way that we've discussed, where you're almost kind of debunking before anything happens, aren't you? You're like, okay, well, I'm going to stamp on this ground continuously and make sure that it doesn't go off, and then it can sit there. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with cat balls. Personally, I'm a big fan of them, and they don't seem to take much energy for spirits to interact with.
And what you'll find is, as well, no matter what era a spirit's from, they will recognise a ball.
Yes.
They know what a ball is, because people have all these fun. Like I have to admit it, I bought a really fancy REM pod in the shape of a skull, and it cost me a fortune. And I've stopped using it because it's never gone off, because I think spirits may be scared of it because it's a skull.
Absolutely. it's interesting because I've spoken about this recently, but I find things like REM pods, as much as I have a traditional looking REM pod, the cylinder, the antenna. For me, if you were to put that in an old clock and an old telephone, a toy, because we have a REM bear as well, things like that. I think if it was, back in the day, if I'd have seen that and I'm 200 years, I'm not going to know what that is. That could be dangerous. That looks really scary.
Exactly.
A clock, I know what a clock is.
Yeah, exactly. And a little ball, balls have been balls for years. So you find, they go off, and I just stick to my simple REM pods now. I mean, I just have, like you say, the plain ones.
Yeah.
But I'll usually say to the spirit, oh, look, there's this box here. It's not going to hurt you. And I'll demonstrate it. And I'm actually doing the hand movements now as we speak. I always talk with hands. And I'll go near the antenna, I'll touch it, and I'll be like, look, it sets off lights. It's not going to hurt you, I promise. And I find I get more activity with the plain bog standard REM pod than these fancy ones.
It's interesting, isn't it? I just think familiarity and trigger objects like cat balls and, things like, because we carry building blocks and stuff. We'll build them in a tower. Take a picture, leave it alone. And
it's the simple things. It's like I was watching, Ed and Lorraine Warren, The Conjuring 2, and I've watched that film a million times, and I never noticed until recently I was watching it, and because obviously they were investigating back, in the 60s. They had bells on strings, and they put them on the door handles, and I was like, oh my God, why have I never noticed that before? And now I've got bells on strings. I haven't had a chance to work, test them out because I've only just made them. But it's just the simple things like that, like a bell on a string. Any spirit is going to know what that is.
That's genius. I'm definitely now going to spend money on bells and strings. You could even make long ones that you could put either side of it, like across a doorway, couldn't you? Like motion sensors, but bells.
Now I've got somewhere I've got single bells, and then I've got like 5 on there, or just all different kinds. But yeah, I've not had a chance to test them out yet, but I'm definitely going to test them. And you just watch it and you think, why didn't I think of something so simple? Because if you think back in the day, they didn't have all the fancy equipment.
No, it's like when they used to use flour and stuff on the floor, isn't it? To see footprints, to see movement, like. Obviously, we've upgraded. We can have things like laser grids and stuff like that we can use instead. But sometimes those old methods, you do wonder whether they would work better, or at least work alongside.
And I think it's nice to test. It's like I have an old-fashioned compass, because back in the day they used to use compasses, and spirits could manipulate the dial and twist it. Now, I haven't used it as much as I probably should, but it's definitely something I want to experiment more with, the kind of old-fashioned, original ways of investigating, because I think it's interesting. And I think, the older spirits are going to recognise that more. And obviously, more recent spirits are going to know what those items are anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. That's interesting.
I think it's interesting.
Going to end up spending loads on Amazon now.
There is, yeah.
I'm going to end up buying loads of bells, and my mum's going to be like, what is all of this arriving at my house?
That's where I got it from. I got, they're all different little colourful bells on Amazon, and then just string.
Oh, I love that. That's great. You're going to have to let me know how that goes.
I know. I even made Ian some. I was like, I've got some bells for you. And he was like, oh my God, he was made up with them.
That's amazing.
So, yeah. I'm going to test them out, and it's just there. I've never seen anybody else use them. So, hopefully once people see me using them, they'll be like, oh, I'll use that. I'll try that.
Well, you've already sold it to me, mate. You've already sold it.
We'll have to start this little group now. Who's using bells?
Yeah. Bells only ghost hunting.
Start a YouTube channel and see how it goes.
Of just bells and the movement of bells. That'd be great. I reckon we could get a good amount of collated evidence if we just started doing that. That'd be great.
Yeah, and it would, and it's, as you say, especially if you're inside, there's no drafts, they just hang in there, and then they start ringing, there's just no reason for a bell to ring, and unless it's quite a big gust of wind, they're not going to move.
No. Oh, that's brilliant. Right, yeah, I'm going to get on that. Okay. So what is your goal in hunting the paranormal?
I think for me, it's obviously with everyone, proving it's real. And, it's one of those, like I said earlier, if I can give a spirit a voice and help them communicate, because what you'll always hear me saying is, we're here to tell your story. We want to help you tell your story. And for me, if I can help a spirit to communicate with just, because they're lonely and they want to chat, and I can be that person they can chat to, or, a spirit's gone through something traumatic and they've never been able to tell someone. And if I can enable that, then, that's enough for me.
Yeah, and that's a lovely kind of cause for doing this as well. Because as much as it is about the evidence and things, I'm very much the same. I work in care. I'm a person who likes to help people anyway, and when those things happen, it's a different sense of gratification than than evidence, isn't it?
It definitely is. Yeah, I mean, my background is health, social care. I spent 20 odd years working in social care. I don't work in that now, but it's and when you've seen death that much, you kind of, on another aspect, it's like, I wouldn't say that I believe in God. I'm very spiritual, but I want to believe there's something after death because that comforts me as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then when you pass, you can come and use the bells.
Exactly. It's like...
You can be like, that is my sign.
Yeah, it's like my mum. Sadly, she's got a terminal illness, but we're quite cheery and we're just getting on with it. But she's planned her own funeral and she is insisting that I set up REM pods, cat balls and my equipment on her coffin at her funeral so she can come and communicate.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I know. And people look at me and go, what? I go, it's what my mum wants.
Yeah, like if she wants that, like what more proof to everybody at the funeral than that?
Uh-huh. And hopefully, she's going to help us prove it. Well, hopefully we don't get there too soon.
No, but, in a nice long amount of time.
Yes. So that'll be interesting as well. I don't know if that's ever been done, but we'll see. I don't know if I'll share that, but
maybe not.
Not a video, but I'll share the experience maybe.
Wow, yeah, that's interesting. It's like it's me and my friend always joke, like, I'm quite dramatic, not on hunts in reaction to things, but if we're going down steep stairs, I'm always like, oh, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna fall, I'm gonna die. It's generally heights based, and I'll always say like, I'll come for on a board and like jelly beans is what I'll spell out, so it's me and it can't be kind of disputed, because no other ghost is going to be out there writing jelly beans, are they?
God, yeah, that's true. Well, to be fair, my mum said something similar. So we're natural gingers, and she turned around to me being a crazy cat lady, she turned around and went, I'm going to come back as a stray ginger cat. I was like, oh, thanks, Mum. I'm going to have to take every stray ginger cat in now,
Absolutely. You're not going to be able to let any of them go because you're going to be like, well, it could be Mum.
No, because I've got 3 cats. I did have 4, but I've got 3 already, and 2 of them are previous strays. So it's like, I'm like, thanks for that, Mum.
Yeah, maybe she should just spell a cat's name on the board instead. That would mean you have a lot less cats.
I know. My husband's just going to kill me and see every ginger cat. I'll be like, Dave, it's my mum. He'd be like, but I thought that one was your mum.
It's like she's all of them.
Yeah, she's a bit of her in everyone.
Amazing. I love that. So, final question. Do you 100% believe in spirits?
Oh, yes, definitely. I 100% believe. And I think it's taken a long time for me to be open about it and put it out there. It's like I kept it, as you say, you kind of keep it hidden for a while, don't you? And then last year when I became an investigator, I was like, you know what? I don't care. I believe 100% that there's spirits.
And there's fine that as soon as you start doing that, not telling everybody that ghosts are real in the street or anything, but as soon as you start joining those communities and whatever, you make social circle just massively grows, doesn't it? Because you find all the people that don't necessarily have the same opinions, but are all interested in the same thing, and it is exactly. Lovely.
And obviously the hashtag #paraunity has been floated around a lot, and some people say there's no unity. But I have to say, I kind of, as I mentioned earlier, I started off as a team. So Paranormal Cativity was started with a friend. So there was 4 of us in total, and in December, as you can imagine, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but we kind of parted ways. It wasn't very nice, but the paranormal community really rallied behind me and gave me so much support. And it was unreal. And because of kind of those experiences, that's what gave me the chance to work with some of the teams that are quite well known, you know, in the community. They kind of took me under the wing and they were like, come on, you know, we've got you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think, you know, just the community itself, once you're in it, you're kind of in it, and we support each other. As you say, there might be arguments in the community between us. We might not always agree on different techniques and stuff, but I think in the end, I think there is that para unity, and I think, you know, we kind of all will back each other. You know, someone from outside the community starts, we're all going to be there going, hang on a minute, you've picked on them, you've picked on us all. Do you get what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think there's always going to be, you know, venues and teams that aren't in it for the same reasons, but when you find the groups that are, it makes a massive difference. So that's one of the reasons I do the podcast, is because, you know, I believe we should all be sharing each other, we should all be promoting each other, you know, we're all out here trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, no, definitely.
You know,
it's like me, I'll share techniques like the bells, you know. I'm not one for keeping something to myself and going, that's mine, because I saw it off Lorraine and Ed Warren, do you know what I mean? I'll happily share things, and I think that's what it should be. We should all help each other and support each other and be there for each other.
Absolutely, because if we're all doing that and we're all sharing and we're all collating our evidence and all those things, we're going to get to the point of it's proven a lot quicker.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it takes a team of scientists and multiple different people and multiple different places in the world to replicate the same experiment and go, okay, this is true.
There's something in
it's
this,
exactly the same for paranormal.
And I think we all, as you say, we all work differently. We all have different techniques. And I think that's what probably makes it good, because we all do different things. And, you know, sometimes we're getting the same results, but with different techniques.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely with you. Well, thank you ever so much for being on the podcast today. It's been a pleasure to talk to you.
I know, you too as well.
And hopefully we can get you on again to discuss some different topics.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That'd be wonderful.
Be for it.
Wonderful. Okay, so thank you everyone for listening, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye everyone. Bye Sarah.
Thanks, bye.
We hope you've enjoyed the Ghostly Gossip podcast today. If you would like to follow what we do and where we go as a team, you can search for Devon and Cornwall Paranormal Investigators on all social media platforms and Google. If you don't want to miss an episode, please follow and subscribe. We'd really appreciate your support.